Well, hello there. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are in a super cool part of Los Angeles. It's one of my near and dear parts of Los Angeles, actually, because when I was new in the business, all those years ago, I was in an office up the block. But this is the fabulous Silver Lake and Echo Park. We're right on the border. Just to give you perspective, about a mile, just over a mile that way, is full on downtown and Echo Park itself. At the bottom of the street is Sunset Boulevard that leads us to one of the coolest parts of Los Angeles, which is Sunset Junction, with boutiques and coffee shops. Intelligentsia is my personal favorite, and they've got a crazy sneaker store as well. But don't get me started. Let's talk about this. This is a jewel. My clients, I sold it to them about 10 years ago, and they're now heading out of Los Angeles. They've got a family, and it's their time to leave the City of Angels. It is beautiful. It is moody. It is the perfect East Side home. So I've teased you enough. So why don't we step inside and take a look at 1355 Benton Way. So everything about this house is vibe. My clients are super creatives, which tends to be my niche, but the details and the overall feeling of this home are just absolutely beautiful. It reminds me of the first home that I had with lovely Cindy all those years ago. So this is a home that's almost 100 years old, yet she looks just as good as the day she was born. I'm gonna do a quick whiz through because we're looking at 1,300 feet, 3 bedrooms and 1 bathroom, so I can get through this reasonably quickly, but I wanna show you this. So this is your traditional living room, really beautifully sized. And one of the details that I love with these vintage homes is we have this beautiful barreled ceiling, and we have the leaded windows that look out on the beautiful ficus tree. And then along the way, I think somebody removed the wall here, which gives us this feeling of open plan where the living room just cascades perfectly into this fabulous dining room. Now, this is a pretty girthy dining table. There's 6 seats. You could easily do a set with 8, maybe even 10. And considering this is a 1,300 square foot house, that is pretty banging. And then we continue into the kitchen, which at some point again was completely redone, but this house has existed for many, many decades. But we've got all the accoutrement. We've got chef's grade stove right here, the extractor fan. I like the fact that this kitchen is nice and airy. Work surface right here, beautiful oversized sink, and I love the fact that the fridge is just tucked away in this corner. And then you've got a little moment right here, which is probably where I would have a little chair. And what am I going to say? Yes, I would have my espresso right here. And then I would run out in the garden for a cigar. But we're going to get there in a minute. Don't go there yet, Manny. I want to show you the final part of the kitchen area, which was genius how they did it. This is a mudroom. You've got a mudroom in your 1,300 square foot house, just under 1,300. Full size laundry, so if you've got nippers. Nippers is English for little children, by the way. English is in UK English. Tons of storage. And then let me show you the bedrooms. So we will come back through the kitchen area, but I want to also point out, look at the floors. This is the original 3/4 inch oak that has been refinished, and they look as good as the day they went in. Okay, so as was common back then, the owner's bedroom would be at the front of the property because the backyard 100 years ago was for things like burning trash and drying your laundry. So the backyard was almost a bit of an afterthought 100 years ago. Again, beautiful size. You got a cedar lined closet right here. One super smart thing that my owners did was replace the windows, because you don't want 100-year-old windows, although plenty of houses have them. These are done, they're beautifully done, they're clad, they're carpentered, they're gorgeous. I'm going to show you the bathroom. So all the bedrooms share this bathroom, but this is my favorite. You've got the clawfoot tub, solid steel, solid iron, and then we've got an updated vanity right here. I love the subway tile motif, which my sellers did. As I said, they're super creative. And then tucked behind the door, we have a full-size shower. Then let me pop you into this just adorable guest room with this mustard motif, which I adore. And then last but not least, on the inside of the property, you have a smaller bedroom, which is perfect for a kid or for an office. You know, you've got a million uses. Okay, let's take a look at the backyard. So as I jump out the mudroom, it brings me to the exterior, which is the backyard, of course. Now, one of the things that I love about Los Angeles is we've got lots of hills. And a lot of the properties that I represent have lots of levels. I personally find that really super interesting, and I adore this backyard that has this canopy of a natural vine, and out here we have seating for 12, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful moment. We have an outdoor grill. Not sure if I'd use the grill underneath the canopy, because that could go all horribly wrong. And then just for a little bit of cheekiness, we have a fab lawn at the back for your kid to play on, or the dog, and then a little herb garden at the rear of the property. And remember I said to you we used to burn our trash? How uncivilized. This is still in the backyard. It's an old incinerator where we used to throw our trash in it and burn it. But now we don't do that because we're far more civilized. And that's about it for this private tour of 1355 Benton Way. This house is an absolute jewel, as I mentioned earlier. And I also mentioned that I'm close to Sunset Junction, so before it gets too late in the day, I'm going to run out to Intelligentsia and get myself a very strong oatmeal latte. So until next time, this is Pete Lorimer saying thanks for being with me, and I'll see you later. Toodaloo!